shot in Rome of the biggest walls in the world. I say this man's not a Christian. And I'm a pawn, well, maybe.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
The establishment is definitely afraid of Donald Trump. Never before have we seen in the same week a U.S. sitting president and the biggest Christian religious leader in the world with over 1 billion followers criticize a presidential candidate. And the way they've misrepresented what Donald J. Trump stands for really shows you that he is the outsider, anti-establishment candidate. But just when I thought I'd seen it all, it happened. Since last year, when the Pope started calling for us to open our borders up and started saying that we were racist and evil for not doing it, I pointed out that even the New York Times admits Mexico has one of the strictest southern borders with Guatemala in the world, and upwards of a year in prison, forced labor, if they catch you trying to sneak in. So I said, why do we have to be wide open? And then once people get here, put them on welfare and make them collectivist Bernie Sanders voters. And then when I traveled to Rome last year and actually saw the 200-foot-plus walls, on average over 90 feet, it blew me away around Vatican City, which they say themselves in the tours is the oldest sovereign nation, tax exempt, above the law in the world. And we pointed out it has armed guards, the Swiss guards, its own protective details. A few hundred yards in front of it is a huge armored fortress castle that also protects it, and is where the Swiss guards stay. And all we were saying is, hey, Mexico has borders. Hey, other countries have borders. Saudi Arabia hasn't taken one Muslim refugee from Syria, but wants us to take more. And the Pope doesn't criticize Italy controlling its borders. The Pope doesn't, say get rid of their walls. And how did the New York Times and countless other papers respond? Hey, people, you're wrong again. It isn't a walled city. And they pointed out that there's an open square. The wall's cut in. There's a big open square with the famous obelisk brought there from Egypt, and that you can come there and basically worship the Pope or whatever. I've been there. I've seen it. It's giant walls with huge 50-foot iron doors and armed guards. It's just a concave area that lets you come in, but you're still without the walls. So it gives you that feeling of being in it, but you're not, and that's how they deceive you. So let's look at this map for ourselves. The only area open is this square to the rest of Rome, open to the sovereign city of the Vatican City, to the public. But when you then look here, this is all an internal wall, and there are giant iron doors 50 feet tall before you enter the actual church. And then there are giant walls that have been there since the 800s when the Muslims invaded hundreds of times. But what they do is they deceive people and say, look, Donald Trump's people put out this map online showing the walls. And then they show the wall out here, which you see is open to the public to come in to the gates of the walls, feel like they're inside the church, but they're not. It's a holding area open. These are walls, just decorative. Big steel doors, armed guards. The Pope comes out on the balcony and talks to people. We'll be back and air the rest of it. Stay